Well, it looks like the recording actually is, okay, we're recording to the cloud now too with a primary recording. So I will go ahead and read the script. Welcome to the Lunenburg Conservation Commission meeting of July 17th. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being audio and video recorded. The agenda lists all of the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and those that are reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. Please address all comments to the chair. This meeting of the Conservation Commission will be held by Zoom at the link provided in this notice. And for anyone who may be joining via broadcast, the meeting ID for Zoom is 875-262-14314. And I think it's easiest if you go to the town calendar, download the agenda, and click on the Zoom link that is provided. Also, as a notice to anybody who may be interested, this is being live streamed via channel 22, which I understand is not the usual. I understand the usual channel is channel 8, but that's being occupied by another town committee. Okay, I will start out with a roll call vote. Hang on just a minute. Let me pin my other commissioners here so I can keep track of you better. All right. Jenny Putherer.
Here.
Rich Bursch.
Present.
Jeff Viviano.
Present.
Mike LaRouche.
Present.
Chris St. Germain. Okay, I don't see Chris. Okay, so I'm calling the meeting officially to order, but the first order of business is I have resigned as chair, and I'm perfectly willing to host and facilitate and chair this meeting, unless one of my peer commissioners wants to be chair of this meeting. And I'm not hearing anybody that would prefer to facilitate over me. That's fine. Okay, so in terms of Conservation Commission announcements, I saw yesterday that Bob Pease resigned from the Conservation Commission, which is definitely a sad day. And, you know, and I will thank him in person, but I also want to publicly thank him for all the hard work and dedication that he's done over the years. And personally, I really felt that I was privileged to work with him and learn alongside of him. He really, you know, gave everything to try to help me. I feel like personally learn about Conservation Commission matters, and I really appreciate that support. And during this past year, we've just had a really tough year with the Conservation Commission in general, with turnover in the office, new personnel starting. And he has gone above and beyond to be in the office many hours during the day to help keep the wheels on the bus, so to speak. We're really gonna miss Bob. So I was sorry to see that. I guess I need to make another announcement. I have my notes here. There are severe storms rolling through the area. So if we happen to lose power for this meeting, we won't reconvene it. That all remaining hearings and any unclosed hearings will resume on the next regularly scheduled agenda, which is 8/7. Do we have any other announcements by members of the commission? Okay, so I'll.
Oh, sorry, Mary, I was
Go
putting
ahead,
my hand
Rich.
up, but I couldn't
Yeah.
find it. I just wanted to mirror your comments about Bob Pease. He came on and has just been a ball of energy for the entire time that he was on, becoming chairman. He was a great asset to the commission, as well as a great asset to the town in general, and had been just a great resident for the town of Lunenburg. I think it's a big loss that he did to choose to resign at this time. Hopefully he will at least continue to follow up on some of his pet projects with the bike trails and the snowmobile clubs and things like that, because his efforts were second to none and kept a lot of those projects moving along. So I hope that while we may not see him on Wednesday nights, we will certainly see him in the future. So, and I do want to say thank you very much, Bob, if you are listening. You will be missed.
Thank you for that, Rich. Yeah, agree 100%. Okay, so we'll move along to public comment. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes. It must be on a subject matter that's direct to the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission. Comments about current agenda items need to be tabled until that period of the specific agenda item. And then please address all comments to the acting chair of this meeting, which would be me. And just in terms of general protocol, Zoom has a lot of features, and not everybody's as familiar with Zoom as I am. I live in a Zoom world, but across your Zoom window on whatever device you have, you may have reactions at the bottom of your window. You may have it at the top. Please raise your hand or you can't find the raise your hand on the React menu. Use some icon, even if it's a smiley face or a frowny face or whatever might be, thumbs up or something. I'll know to call on you. And if all else fails, because I do want to hear from members of the public, please just speak up. And if it's not your turn, I'll let you know, but I will circle back around to you. I'm not seeing any hands raised for comments from members of the public. It looks like we have a couple of meeting minutes to approve. July 21st, 2023 has come in. I think I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So moved, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jenny. Roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
and I for myself. So we approved June 21st. Okay. August 2nd, 2023. Looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Rich.
Second.
Second.
Second, Jenny. Roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
and I for myself. So that approves August 2nd. Okay, so we'll now move into the appointments section of the hearing. The first agenda topic is the Conservation Commission reorganization. And so where we are right now is we do not have an elected chair or vice chair or clerk. Do we have anyone who wants to put their name forward as candidate for chair or vice chair or clerk?
I would be willing to put my name in for clerk, or preferably clerk, and take on, some of those responsibilities that could be, I think, divided better, like helping plan the site walks. Or I would be willing to do the vice chair, but I don't think I'm ready to be if we don't have a chair, I'm not ready to be the acting chair at this moment.
Thank you for that, Jenny. Anyone else?
I would second the nomination of Jenny Puthra for vice chair.
Thank you, Rich. But I think her conditions of being vice chair are contingent on having a chair. So I don't know that we can proceed with voting on her as a candidate for vice chair if unless she corrects me, unless we have a chair.
Well, then I will rescind my motion.
Is
Okay.
there, sorry.
Go ahead,
um,
Jenny.
So I know that if there was somebody that was willing to run meetings for now, if anybody wants to volunteer for that, I'd be happy to be vice chair. I just feel like I'm still learning so much that I don't feel ready to run meetings, at least for the next couple of meetings. But if we don't, yeah, like I said, if we don't have a chair, then that would kind of fall on me. And I'm just not ready for that yet.
I'm happy to run meetings. But all the collateral responsibilities of the chair are difficult for me to juggle with my day job.
I would definitely be willing to take on a lot of that administrative stuff. For now, I know that if we wanted to like maybe talk about what that division of responsibilities would be, like I said, I can look at the agendas, coordinate the site walks, go on
Mhm.
site walks. I'm not fully sure what else there would be since I'm so new, but maybe that's something we could, I don't know if we would talk about here or take that offline.
Yeah, we can take that. I think it's probably better to take it offline since we have people waiting to conduct business. But I'd be happy to talk to you offline about that. I've actually been putting together a list.
Okay, so then I would
Yeah.
be happy to be vice chair if you're willing to run meetings for now. If people wanted to elect me as vice chair.
Okay, so Rich, are you're willing to reinstate your motion?
I will reinstate my motion, motion for Jenny Puthra for vice chair. Then I
second
would
that.
offer, second by Mike.
Yes.
And I'll note for the public record that it looks like Chris St. Germain has now joined our ranks. And Chris, we were talking about the Conservation Commission reorganization. As you know, I've stepped down as chair, but I'm acting as chair today to kind of fill in the void and keep the ball moving, so to speak. Bob has resigned from the commission altogether, which then vacates the vice chair seat. Jenny has said she would be willing to put her name in the hat for vice chair as long as I'm willing to run meetings for the interim. And Rich has put in a motion, seconded by Mike, for Jenny, support of Jenny as the vice chair.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for getting me up to speed.
Sure. So now I'm going to do a roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye. Did I say aye?
yeah, you said aye. Jenny, I think, has to abstain because she's personally interested in this. Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself. Very good. Thank you, Jenny. Okay.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
And so
You're the
then
best.
that does make a clerk available. Is anybody willing to put their name in the hat to be clerk? Or endorse a fellow commissioner to be clerk? Okay, I see we're going to have some more conversations. Were you going to say something, Rich?
Yeah, I just can't find my buttons anymore. They all went away. I would nominate Mike LaRouche as a clerk. I think Mike has some great organizational skills. He's done wonders up on the Hollis Hills property or the Hollis Road property. The clerk's job is not hours and hours and hours, but I do think Mike has the skills and the temperament needed to help with the clerk and help Jenny grow into the vice chair position.
I think that's an excellent recommendation. Mike?
I'd be willing to take on those responsibilities.
Very-
Understand that I am away from December to March. So that's my only caveat on accepting a position when I'm physically not in Lunenburg. And does that make a difference to this nomination?
It should not make a difference to this nomination, per my understanding. Rich or Jeff, you guys have been around more than any of the rest of us. Is that consistent with your understanding?
At this point, yeah, we have full participation through Zoom at this time. So I know, unfortunately, I am not in Lunenburg much more than about April, May, and June of the year. So 9 months of the year I am participating, although I do have a fairly good knowledge of Lunenburg, having been on the commission 30 years and having grown up in Lunenburg from birth. So it does give me a little bit of an advantage to participate, knowing most of the things that have gone on in town in the last 50 some odd years. So, but as far as Mike being gone in the wintertime, I know he's participated from Florida remotely without any problems and has been a full functioning member of the commission.
Very
Yeah,
good. Do we
Barry,
have,
I would agree
Go
with
ahead,
that
Jeff.
as well. I don't really see any issues with Mike being in Florida. So yeah, I can support that nomination as well.
excellent. Thank you, Jeff. So do I have a motion for Mike as clerk?
Oh, I think I made the motion. You'd need a second.
Second,
Okay. Very good. Roll call vote. Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
aye.
and consider Mike abstained due to his personal interest in this, and I for myself. So that's a unanimous vote for Mike as clerk. And so then I will circle back around to chair. And I'm not currently willing to be chair right now. I've had to resign for a number of reasons that I don't see a path forward on. Is anybody else willing to take on clerk or nominate a peer as clerk? Sorry, not clerk, chair. Okay, we'll table that for now because I am willing to host the meetings for the next little bit, and hopefully we can get around and get to having a fully vetted chair here before too long. Okay, in terms of announcements, 899 Flat Hill Road, which was a new hearing, and 1147 Mass Ave are not able to be heard tonight because the advertisements didn't go out in time, and so we're not able to meet the public advisory mandate of 5 days, which is unfortunate. So if anybody's here for either of those, 899 Flat Hill Road or 1147 Mass Ave, we're not able to hear those projects tonight. So Sophie, do we have any requests for continuations?
We have let's see. I haven't heard anything from my recollection for continuances other than the ones that we already agreed upon.
So as I look down through the list on the agenda, it looks like 60 Crossroad Lot 12A. The agenda says that's continued to August 7th. That accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so then I'm gonna read it in, and then we'll vote to get commission agreement to continue those to August 7th. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended, and the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a notice of intent by Timothy Gendron for the proposal and construction of a single-family home and associated amenities within 100-foot of a wetland buffer zone and within the 50-foot no-build zone at 60 Crossroad, Lot 12A. Do I have a motion to continue to August 7th?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Jenny, second by Rich. Roll call vote, Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself. So the next one that I see that has August 2nd, 7th on it is 60 Crossroad Lot 12B. Also consistent, Sophie, with your understanding?
Yes, that's right. They have some other things to catch up on. So, August 7th.
Okay, pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended, and then the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a notice of intent by Timothy Gendron for the proposal of construction of a new addition and driveway onto the existing single-family home within a 100-foot wetland buffer zone and within the 50-foot no-build zone at 60 Cross Road, Lot 12B. Do I have a motion to continue?
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Rich. Second by Chris. Roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself. Those, I think, are the only ones I see on the agenda with continuation, Sophie. So we'll go back up to the top and go through the list. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on behalf of trustees of Village at Flat Hills, a request for determination of applicability for the project proposal parcel number 84-001, detention pond maintenance for the area of 0 Cortlandt Circle. And do we have someone from the Village at Flat Hills and or their representative here tonight? And Sophie, I seem to recall that we missed them before when we had them scheduled for a meeting. Were you able to get in touch with them?
Hi,
Wayne is
can you hear
here.
me?
Oh, Wayne is here.
I am
Oh,
here.
okay. Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I
Okay.
do. And
Thank
so,
you.
Wayne, for the purposes of our protocol, would you state your name and your address, please?
Yes, Wayne Garapi, 32 Cortlandt Circle, Lunenburg, Mass, and I'm a trustee at the village here.
Okay, do you want to talk to us about your project, and do you have any materials to show?
Well, to talk about the project, the town hired the town engineer to complete a study for us. And it's been held up because of the surveying, but he has the information now and he's going to get back to us at any point. But what we're looking to do is bring the detention pond down to its original level. So
What was its original level?
I don't have that in front of me. Sorry about that. But I do have some paperwork that states it. I'm just waiting for the engineer's report. And then we were gonna make a determination as to, get some more bids, depending if it's different than what we were going to do.
Hey, Mary, if I may, this is Brian Marchetti.
Oh,
McCarty
hi,
Engineering.
Brian.
Okay, so I'm the engineer that was hired to review the volume in the detention basin. And the surveyors were held up for the past couple of months because the basin was full of water and they couldn't get the bottom of basin elevations. So we now have it. I received it yesterday from the surveyor. So I plan this week to get a good handle on the design volume versus the as-built volume right now. It was built back in the early 2000s. And it's, since then, over the last 15 years, plus years or so, obviously has accumulated some sediment. So we just want to compare the as-built volume versus the design volume. And then the goal is to perform some maintenance, grub it out back to the existing volume that it was designed to have.
Thank you, Brian.
And the basin is within buffer zone. It's right adjacent to wetlands. And over the last 15 plus years, the wetlands have kind of crept up to the bottom of the berm on the outside of the basin. So it's a stormwater BMP, but it happens to be within a buffer zone. So maintenance is a key role of getting these things to function as they're supposed to. So they're just asking for permission to clean these out.
Okay, and do we have drawings or anything to review here that show the adjacency of the stormwater containment area to the buffer zone?
This
I
is
will.
Wayne. Oh, sorry.
Well, I'm saying, as I said, I just got the as-built back yesterday, so I should be able to show something that
Okay,
shows that.
I
okay,
put a
so,
drawing in with the package that I left with the conservation,
mhm,
and it has, it shows the area that the detention pond is in. And it has its depth and everything on it also. But,
okay.
yeah,
But it sounds like right now we don't have the information that we need to make a decision anyway. So I think I'm looking for a motion to continue. First, I assume from what Brian was saying is he's requesting a continuation. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, either way, because it's routine maintenance that's supposed to be conducted, so you can't
Mhm.
maintain the basin. This is typically something that, in my opinion, should be exempt from a notice of intent. Maintaining a basin is kind of a critical component of a stormwater system. So, no wetlands need to be crossed. You can access this basin from Cortlandt Circle. So all the work is going to be conducted from the roadway. They can drive a mini excavator right into the basin. So no wetlands are going to be impacted by this. They just need to maintain it. So, I don't see any reason why you couldn't vote to approve this, even though we don't have a plan in place yet. It's the footprint of the basin as it is today. We're just going to dig out the bottom of it. So there's going to be no expansion. There's going to be no impact to the adjacent wetlands. And this is part of the regular operation and maintenance that's required for every detention basin that's built in every subdivision today. It's just at the time when this is approved, that wasn't written into the order.
Okay, and I agree with you. I don't think it's applicable for an NOI. What's actually in front of us today is a request for determination of
Yep.
applicability,
Understood. Okay.
which we generally only consider when we actually have a plan. And I personally, and I tend to be a little bit more conservative, and I'm happy to hear from my peers, but I personally prefer to have a plan, because then when we have a drawing and we have a limit of work, then reduces opportunities for misunderstanding after the work started. Rich, do you have any advice that you'd like to throw out there for us?
Unfortunately, I do err on the side of caution and would side with you on at least having to have something in front of us to verify the work being done, the location of the work. I did have one quick question, Brian.
Mhm.
The depth that you're going to bring the basin down to is the depth that was designed originally when the basin was built, or you're changing the volume of the basin?
No, the goal here is to just put back what was built.
Okay.
So if You know, and like I said, we just got the as-built grades yesterday, so I haven't reviewed them yet to see
Okay.
how it correlates to what was designed. So, you know, there's no plan to expand it at this point in time.
Okay.
So I would just ask, and that's fine if we continue it. I
Yeah,
would kind of just
we'll need
ask
the
for.
approval, but I agree with
Some-
Mary. We do have to have something in writing in front of us to see why.
That's fine. Yep, understood. I'd like to ask that in the future. We deal with this on a lot of other projects that it's almost like an understood maintenance agreement now that Concom has on file that, you know, in 4 years, 5 years, if the village, Cortlandt Circle wants to come back and maintain the basin again, it's something that can be done administratively, just with a letter of intent with the same plan that's on file, you know, that.
Can you make sure you submit an O&M plan with the basin plan?
Yeah, there is one on file. They already have, so
Yeah.
we can provide that.
Perfect.
And then if I may, you know, Brian's gonna come after the work's all done and check everything anyway to make sure that it's, you know, what he recommended. So I'm for moving forward. This is Wayne Garapi, but
Sophie, you have your hand raised. And Sophie, you did have your hand raised.
Sorry, I forgot I was muted. I do have one plan that may be perhaps helpful, just to get a gist of the location of the ponds.
Okay, let's see it.
And I can also pull up an aerial. So this was submitted in the packet. If you can see my cursor, that's A, and I'm not sure it's what labeled D, but there's another one and labeled wetlands in the areas that there are wetlands. And then I can pull up a side by side of.
And are both proposed to be
no, just A.
dredged? Just A?
Okay. And then this is the aerial. This is A here.
Okay. And do we show on the plans where the, or does the proposal have where the sludge from the bottom of the pond will go? Or how that will be dealt with?
When I talked to the contractor that was going to do the work, he was going to take it with him, and whatever is appropriate, he was going to do. I was dealing with, is it Powell here in Lunenburg?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be dug out, put in trucks and hauled back.
Yes.
Okay, so the sludge is going to be removed from the site.
Yes.
Yes.
Does this help at all? Would you like to see anything else?
That works for me. So I'm clear. But I'll do other commissioners have questions, comments?
Can you reshare that, Sophia, and scroll down?
Yes, I just have to do it again.
The map.
Where would you like to see? Okay.
Go down to the map part. Okay, stop. Yeah, I just don't understand why my address is being addressed as a wetland. We can take that offline.
Yeah, that's a separate topic. Chris, but I understand. Yeah. Any other question or comments here by the commission? And Rich, now that you've seen Sophie's presented, oh, Mike, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I was just curious. I know that the sludge is going to be extracted, but where does it go? Where does it get placed?
I mean,
I
I
could
think
ask-
that's up to the contractor. It's gonna go back to his yard. And I don't think it's, you know, I'm not really sure where he'd put it with. It'd be a general fill or mixed with something else, but it wouldn't, you know, obviously because of the weeds and the invasives that are in a basin, I'm sure it's not gonna go in a compost pile.
So we're not going to start another invasive area as a result of extracting from this pond. That's all I want to make sure we're not creating another
Yeah.
problem.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. So Rich, now that you've seen the application, and you've seen the grounds and whatnot, do you feel like we could proceed? I mean, I would want there to be, personally would want there to be specified in the approval that the sludge is going to be removed from site, because it doesn't seem to be specified in the application. And I would want to have no wetlands being crossed or worked in, and then I would want the document to be updated with the limit of work. Those are the things that I think I would be looking for in something like this.
I guess my question would be, is this something that has to start in the next 2 weeks, or are we still doing other things before we start the project? Brian or Wayne?
I think that would be up to Wayne to answer.
Well, it's not going to be started in the next couple of weeks. We wanted to wait for the engineer's report
Okay,
and then, you know,
that
figure
answers my
out, you know,
question.
we're working with Brian, so we wanted to continue that, and just when we saw what he has, we'd go from there. So
No,
it's,
Madam Chair, I would rather just wait at this point. It's not an emergency. It's not something that they already had planned to start, so I would wait to, myself would wait to approve
I
until we
know
had the
that,
final plans.
excuse me, sorry. I know the town wants to do it.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank
Jenny,
you.
And would we be asking for an O&M when they come back?
it sounded like we already had an O&M.
Yeah,
Brian,
in
I
this
might have
packet.
misunderstood.
No, an O&M plan was filed and it's part of the record documents when the subdivision was approved.
So I'm just not seeing it in here anywhere.
So, Brian, are you saying that the O&M was part of the original
Yes. Yep. So the
creation?
O&M is part of the original approval.
Oh, okay,
So the
okay.
original approval for the subdivision. So this has been a item that's been discussed in town now for a couple of years. So because it's an existing approval, you know, it's a subdivision that was approved, it was built to the standards at the time, so you can't enforce new regulations on an approved subdivision. So the trustees are just going through the motions to have a contractor come and clean out their basins. Typically, that's just part of an approval. They're allowed to do it. We don't come back to commissions to request approvals for it. Just because this was an old subdivision. They're erring on the side of caution and coming back and just letting you know they're doing it and asking, you know, for your basically an RDA, just so you're aware of what's going on. But they want to just come back and maintain the basin, restore it back to what it was supposed to be. There's been stormwater issues up in this area for a while, so they're trying to fix it. So,
Jenny, you had a follow-on question?
So if you're saying that the O&M was filed with the original deed, do you have a copy of that? Because I don't have that anywhere in our records.
yeah, the town has in their records. I don't believe it was filed with this, and Wayne, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, because I'm not really sure what it is.
Yeah,
But
we
it's-
can dig it up and find it.
So, yeah,
Okay, because it
that,
sounds like it wasn't followed if we're 40 years later, right? 30 years later. Or has it been?
It was been since like '06, so it's almost 20 years later. It has been maintained.
Yeah.
There are some record documents.
Okay.
That there were inspection reports filed with the town. So it's just a level of maintenance, over time, I guess was in question, and we're trying to get it back to the function it's supposed to be functioning in.
Fair enough. Brian, if I understood correctly, you agreed you would provide the O and M plan to the Conservation Commission.
Yes, we can find it.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so for the applicant, are you okay with us delaying to the August 7th meeting?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, and so what I'm hearing from our my fellow commissioners that we expect to have in our office by then is the O and M plan. And I may be more flexible than Rich, but it'd be nice to have a letter update that says the sludge is going to be removed from site, no wetlands are going to be crossed, and update of that plan proposal that shows the limit of work. And I would imagine you could just draw it over the top, right? If I understood what you were saying, it should be pretty straightforward.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I am looking for a motion from the commissioners to continue this hearing to August 7th.
So moved.
Thank you,
Second?
Rich. And a second by Jenny. Roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, everybody there.
Moving along, pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing for a notice of intent for Timothy K. Gendron, the Revocable Trust. The project proposal is for construction of a residence duplex, associated driveway, and drainage features. The location is within the edges of the bordering vegetated wetland and buffer of intermittent stream at Crossroad Lot 2, parcel 99-11. Do we have Timothy Gendron or his representative here tonight? Do we recall who was representing them before? Was it the applicant or an engineer? I don't happen to recall myself. But they're not here, so we'll move along. I'm gonna leave this open. I'm gonna make a note down at the bottom. Commissioners, please help me remember to close this hearing. We'll either continue it or if the applicant will, where the applicant will show up. Okay, moving along. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws. A public hearing on behalf of FWP Realty Partners on behalf of Kevin Hill Landings Development LLC for a notice of intent for a residential subdivision within the 100-foot wetland buffer zone with paved driveways and bioretention basin for the area of 791 Mass Ave. Do we have the applicant or their representatives here tonight?
Yes, my name is Jonathan Collette. I'm with Haley Ward, representing the applicant FWP Realty Partners.
Very good. Why don't you, do you have the ability of sharing your screen and doing a
Yep.
project overview for us?
Yep, I can pull up the
Get
plan.
everybody reoriented.
Can everybody see that?
Yes.
So to refresh everybody's memory from June, this is 791 Mass Ave, the site of the old Stone Farm store. And so the site is proposed to be split into three lots. On each lot is proposed a 2-family house with driveways off of Mass Ave, and then bioretention areas for stormwater. On the site plan here, outlined in yellow is the 100-foot buffer zone. In purple is the 50-foot. In red is the 30-foot, and then in blue is the wetlands. Each of the duplexes is outlined in brown, and the bioretention areas in green. And so I think where we left off last time, Sophie had some issues going out on site and finding all of the flags for the wetlands. And it is my understanding that she has since walked the site with Matt Morrow and has been able to verify the location of each flag, if I'm not mistaken.
Sophie, can you confirm?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And then we, since the last meeting, we have received a DEP file number with no comments.
Okay, thank you for that. So Sophie, you walked the wetlands, you found the flags. Does the delineation make sense to you? Or did you
Yes,
see any issues?
I did not see any issues. It was very accurate, especially in the lot 1 area. A lot of it is like topography driven, as well as soils. It's a very drastic line. So I don't have any questions on this delineation.
Thank you. And since you've actually walked out there and I've not had the benefit of walking out there, did you, as you were walking through there, did you have any concerns that you think the Conservation Commission should be aware of with regard to the proposed plan?
I didn't see anything in regards to the plan and being in the field. I would say since our last meeting, it was discussed to kind of stake out where possible boundaries are for the wetland increments. I didn't notice any stakes for the boundaries themselves. And I think that's really the only note that I have.
So the buffer zones weren't staked out?
I didn't know any stakes. Again,
Okay.
it was very, very dense
Yeah,
vegetation. It was basically a jungle, so it's very hard to find things hanging from trees, never mind a foot off the ground.
we don't always require it, just, you know, when it seems like, you know, there's some questions about the where those buffer zones are relative to the rest of the project site. At least that's when I generally call that out. Okay, that covers the notes that I had from the last meeting with regard to this. What is the proposed erosion control for this site?
I will just scroll to the next page. And so along the green shaded areas is a dashed line, which is the proposed erosion control.
And what are you proposing for erosion control?
Silt fence and straw wattles. It is
Okay.
on, we have a detail of it on the plan on one of the sheets.
Okay. Okay, do we have any questions from other members of the commission? So I'm not seeing any questions from members of the commission. Are there any questions from members of the public? I'm not seeing any questions from members of the public. Let me just scroll down. It's a long list of people today. Okay. So I think I'm looking for a motion or questions and concerns. Okay, then I'm just gonna go around the room and see where the commission sits with this. Rich, you unmuted first. What are your thoughts? Are you in a position to consider approving this, or do you have
Yeah,
concerns or
I am
questions?
ready to make a motion to approve as submitted.
Thank you, Rich.
Second,
Second.
Give that one to Jeff as the second. Okay. Thank you. And roll call vote, Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
aye.
and I for myself. That's approval of the plan as submitted with standard order conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Okay, moving on down the list. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 as amended, and the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing for a request for determination for PJ Keating Company for the project proposals for the replacement and maintenance of work connected to the existing pump house. The location is within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetland and priority habitat number 1738 related to 495 Leominster Shirley Road. And do we have the applicant or their representative here tonight?
Madam Chair, Greg Roy with Dawson Roy. I'm here representing the applicant.
Hi, Greg. Do you want to just share your screen and get us reoriented on this one?
Sure. Bear with me. Okay, so last time I started with with an ortho view. I apologize. I've been under the weather here, so I apologize if I'm
You got my
sounding-
sympathy. My throat's a little scratchy tonight too, and I've started having a cough. It's not headed in the right direction.
So I'm trying to rally here, but I started with an ortho, but this is the site that is further east on Leominster Shirley Road from the what you would think of as the Keating property, which is on Reservoir or surrounding Reservoir. This property is right next to the large warehouse facility that was constructed just to the east of that facility. And it's tucked in the back. And just for everybody's just a quick history lesson, PJ Keating and Company filed an RDA several months ago now. The commission asked for them to prepare a formal wetland delineation and site plan, which they hired us to do. So we prepared and submitted this plan that's before you in advance of the June 5th meeting. And we came to that meeting to present this plan. At the same time, we filed a letter with the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program, because we believe that the work proposed would be exempt from the Massachusetts Endangered Species Act. And we did hear back from them, and I'll go over that in a second. But just to refresh everybody's memory, the proposed project includes a replacement well for process water for the plant. that will replace an existing well that's in the existing well house. The new well is right in this location here. And then it would include the construction of in addition to the existing well house of 12 feet by 18.5 feet, which is shown here in red. The wetland system is located up here on the upper portion of the screen. We have the 30-foot zone, which is the first orange line, and the 50-foot no build zone shown, and then the 100-foot buffer zone is out in this location. The entire area here, you can see the semicircle line here, green line, and then you can see this fence line. All of the area within those lines is disturbed, previously disturbed, which is why we felt that the project would be exempt from the Massachusetts Endangered Species Act. We have heard back from Natural Heritage. They agreed with us that the building addition is exempt from MISA, from Massachusetts Endangered Species Act, but they felt that the construction of the wellhead was not exempt from MISA. Which quite frankly was a little puzzling to me because the proposed addition constitutes more work, with footings and things, a larger footprint of the construction of the addition is a larger project, if you will, than the construction of the well. But be that as it may, we're filing with the with NHESP a full project review checklist for that work for the construction of the well, and that is pending. So that determination just came down from them. So we are we're a little bit, the discussion's a little bit advanced. I think the commission's concern, I think at the last meeting was mainly the wanting to hear from the endangered species folks, which we did here, of course. I just summarized that. And I think that your commission expressed a concern with closing the RDA or issuing a negative determination on the RDA at the last meeting until you heard from Natural Heritage. I made the statement that I'm going to make the same statement because I think it still holds true, that particularly now that they've weighed in on the fact that the proposed building addition would be an exempt project, and we're filing a project review checklist, which is sort of the worst case scenario that I presented last month to the commission. That I believe you could, if you felt that a -3 determination was appropriate, that you could act on that. We still have to go forward with the project review checklist and hear from them formally. But I think you could separate the processes if you felt comfortable in all other respects of the application. And I think I'll leave it at that, Madam Chair. Happy to take any questions.
Do we have a copy of that letter in the office, Greg?
The email, they sent that by email. I don't know if you do. But
Yeah,
I
well,
can
I
send it.
mean, email, letter, same to me.
Yeah.
Correspondence might be more inclusive way of saying it.
Yeah, no, I
yeah.
understood. I don't know that you did get a copy of that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we would
It
definitely,
came via email, so.
we would definitely want to have that. So can you forward it to our office?
I can.
Yeah.
If I may speak, my name's Ken Dow. I'm the new Environmental Compliance Manager for PJ Keating.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, how are you? That letter was transmitted by the Natural Heritage to an A. Aubrey at Lunenburg, Mass. On June 25th.
Okay.
So that's where
And that's the town manager's secretary, and they should have forwarded it to the office. But I think what I would recommend is that you guys ensure that you have the paper trail showing that it got to our office.
Very good.
Okay.
Thanks, Ken.
My-
I appreciate that.
And thank you for that overview, Greg. It's aligned with my own notes. What I had written down is my own reluctance to proceed because I have specifically been asked by the DEP and by the head of NHESP to not close requests that were pending their action because they would like the Conservation Commission, they can't force us to, but they would like for us to consider adding their conditions to our conditions. Which is something that I certainly respect, and I want to be a good partner to those state agencies where we can help them. But given their comments, they believe the building is exempt and the wellhead is not exempt. I'm really more inclined to move forward with it. Unless you want to argue with me, Greg, that's okay
No, I
too.
didn't. I did. I'm sorry to interrupt. I wanted to suggest that you could still, particularly now that we know that we filed a project review checklist and that a letter is forthcoming, you could do that you could condition that by reference.
Yeah.
Your condition could be that all conditions of the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species decision is complied with. We wouldn't object to that because we have to do it anyway.
I think that's an excellent suggestion. And then when you do get those conditions, we will also need you to forward those to our office before we can close out anything.
Yep.
The only other note that I had here was the drawings. I think if I'm reading my chicken scratch correctly, the drawings didn't show where any construction material staging was going to be.
I did not have that note written down, so I apologize, but we're proposing a erosion control barrier right at the edge of the clearing here, just to make sure we don't get anything. There's actually a natural berm here already. So it's actually, the site's actually lower than, the water really can't get over to the bordering vegetated wetland because there's a berm in there. So we'd be staging likely in the front of the existing building which is already a gravel area, and
Okay.
really don't consider much. There's probably not going to be much. I mean, there's a pretty light duty addition here. We'll have frost walls and things, but it's a fairly minor 12 by 18 foot building addition, so it's not likely to be a very significant staging area.
For me personally, I'd be happy with you sending a follow-on note, email correspondence to our
Yeah,
office that indicates where that material would be, and
yeah, we can commit to keeping it out of the 50-foot buffer, 50-foot no build zone for sure, and we can memorialize that on a sketch or on this plan, just to make a quick revision to the plan for you.
Okay, that's that meets all of my concerns and all of my notes from the previous hearing. Do we have any questions or comments from other members of the commission?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes, Rich.
Yeah, just a quick comment. I just hate to get into the approval process before we get all of the data and all of the necessary filings that go with an application. I mean, I know it is a minuscule issue, but I just hate to continually approve projects or be asked to approve projects without getting all of the proper filings, federal, state, and local, in before us, so we can take those into consideration before we do make our decision. Thank you. And that was what we held up last week's meeting for the last time we met.
Yeah, and I hear you, Rich, too. I'm really on the fence about it. I think the thing in my mind that kind of took me over the edge is the building shell itself is exempt, and the wellhead interior to the building is the thing that'll be controlled. which I feel like, you know, I guess I can't imagine that there would be a lot of controls on that we can manage after the fact, but you've been around longer than me and have seen more of these things in practice.
Yeah, no, it's just the overall, making a decision prior to getting all the pertinent information before us. And having to put caveats that this will be followed and that'll be followed. Because once we do our approval and it goes to the office, we generally are not very good at follow-up and continuation after decisions are made as a commission.
I think that's a very fair comment, Rich.
Yeah.
Question and comments from other members of the commission? Okay, then, I'm going to do a straw poll to see where people are with regard to making a decision today or holding off in alignment with Rich until NHESP has reached their sent out their conditions on the non-exempt activities. Mike, where do you stand on that?
Yes, I concur with Rich. It seems like it's difficult enough just to get all of the stuff in front of us and approve it, than to have to go backwards and remember, oh yeah, we had this contingency and that contingency. So to make it easier for all of us, I agree with Rich. If he doesn't mind waiting, until the next meeting when everything else, all these things are in place and it's easy for us to do a vote on it, I think that's the way I would like to proceed as well.
Okay, I would just caveat that I suspect that the applicant does mind. But I think the ask of you is, what do you think is the right thing to do with your understanding of the process and whatnot? And I think we've heard that in that regard, but I think it's what you think is the right thing to do.
Yes, Madam Chair, I do.
Okay, thank you for that, Mike.
All right.
Jeff?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Rich too. I think we just need to wait out on this one another couple of weeks to see if we get a determination, then we can all make a much more informative vote. So,
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Rich, we've heard your views. Jenny?
I would also agree with Rich. I think that it makes sense to approve everything at once, if approved.
Okay, thank you. Chris? Oh, Chris, I thought you came off mute and then you went right back on mute.
I'm back. Hi.
Yeah, Chris, I heard you say hi, Mary, and that was all I heard. So are you prefer to wait or proceed?
Proceed.
Okay. Well, it seems like we're more right now as a body in favor of waiting and not proceeding. So Greg, I would recommend that you ask for a continuation to our next hearing, because if we force to vote right now, it might not go in your favor.
Yeah, understood. So we will do that.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion to continue to August 8th.
So moved.
second,
Second,
Okay, a motion by Jeff, a motion by Rich, and a second by Jeff. Roll call vote, Mike,
aye.
Jeff,
aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, thank you, Greg.
Thanks, everybody.
I should say thank you, Greg and Ken. Okay, moving along. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation by Kevin O'Brien at 390 Howard Street. Do we have the applicant and/or their representatives here tonight? And Sophie, were we expecting these applicants here tonight?
I was hoping that somebody would be here to possibly discuss. There was a visit on 7/9 with Chuck Karen, and I wasn't able to attend, so I thought Matt was going to, the representative was going to show, but there was no yes or no definite be here
Okay.
answer.
Okay, so why don't you reach out to Matt and get their confirmation of when they can show up next, right? And we'll continue this to the next hearing, but chase them down between now and then and see if they need to continue to a future hearing.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm looking for a motion to continue to 8/7 for this.
So moved.
Second,
Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Jenny. Roll call vote, Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, moving along. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a notice of intent by Stephen McSweeney for the construction of a single-family home and associated site work at 255 Sunny Hill Road. Do we have the applicant and/or their representatives here tonight?
Brian Marchetti here from McCarty Engineering.
And Mary Ann DePinto from Three Oaks Environmental.
Okay, very good. Why don't you guys share and bring us back up to speed with where we are with this project?
Okay, 1 second. All right, so if you recall, we've been discussing this parcel now for, I believe we filed in September. Continued to figure out some design modifications. We had some communication with the abutter. We met on site back in, I believe it was February, March, with Bob Pease and the conservation agent to review wetland lines. There were some field modifications made at that time. We met in April and discussed the plan with the modifications. And in April at that time, the commission asked for a third-party peer review. Goddard Consulting was hired to do a third-party peer review. They conducted their review in June. They provided a report. There were some flags that we did not agree with, and we wanted to meet with Goddard on site and the commission to review. It took a month. We weren't able to get any commissioners on site with us, but we did get a site visit with Goddard's wetland scientist in Sophia to meet us out there. They met us out there a couple of days ago on, today, I believe it was Monday or Tuesday, yesterday. So I had the surveyor go out there first thing this morning. They made modifications to 4 or 5 of the flags. So between Goddard and Three Oaks Environmental and Sophia, we came to an agreement on the final location of these wetland flags. And I provided a plan this afternoon to document the final wetland designation here, delineation that's bought into by both Goddard Consulting and our wetland scientist, Mary Ann DePinto, and it was all witnessed by Sophia. So that's the plan we're looking at here on the screen.
And it's just a matter of like 4 or 5 flags total
Yep.
change over the combined Goddard report and mine.
Yeah, so the plan that you see here is a compilation of the Goddard modifications versus our initial delineation. So this plan shows them both. Flag A1, which was here, was maintained. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here. So you can see flag A1 was both Goddard and Mary Ann's. Our wetland line is the gray shaded back line right here. Flag A2 moved 2 feet to here, so the red line represents Goddard's modified flag. So there was a minor deviation here that we just agreed to. We don't argue with that. A3 and 4 are Goddard's flags here in red. Our A3 and 4 are right here, and 4 is the same flag. So really it was just flag 2 and 3 are the ones Goddard moved out here. It was a minor change. Our wetland line continues to A4.1, comes down to A4.2. And then here A4.3 is in the same location. Our line jumped over to A4 right here, and the Goddard wetland scientists added 2 flags uphill here, A4.31 and 4.32. These flags were moved based, and Mary Ann, you can correct me if I'm wrong, more on the understory of wetland vegetation, and that's creeping up the hill towards where the off-site drainage trench is dumping water. So over time, all the water that we're getting from the neighbor's drainage is starting to creep the wetland vegetation uphill. It is not stormwater, it's not runoff from a wetland resource area off-site, it's strictly from their stormwater from their property. So that's mainly the reason why we were arguing the point. It's not a wetland that's generated based on the large wetland system that's upstream of the property. This is from stormwater runoff coming from the neighbors uphill. So anyway, you can see flag A431, 432 are new. And A443R, which is right here. So these 3 flags were added. A44 here is Mary Ann's line. It was about 4 feet uphill. Goddard moved the flag. We justified all of these based on both wetland vegetation and hydric soil. So this flag moved slightly. A5 here, we moved slightly. So these were the ones that basically we had contested, and we came to an agreement that we moved them a little bit closer to where it was, and we proved that by digging test pits there and showing the wetland salt and the soil was not hydric. So we was able to move his flags further downhill, closer to our flags. And then again here, A7 is basically he bought into our flag, and then we just agreed with his other delineation. He bumped the wetland out in this location. You can see A8, 9, 10, and 11 in gray are our flags. Goddard moved these flags uphill. We did have some issues with it, again, because of soils and vegetation, but we didn't want to argue them because the buffer zone didn't impact our house location. We still had room outside of the 50-foot no structure zone to fit the house. So we agreed to use the Goddard flags in this location. Goddard bought our flags, A11, 12, 13, 14. A15, Goddard thought the wetland was about 5 feet further uphill. So he just decided to delete, he recommended just deleting A15 and connect A14 to A16. So we agreed to that. And then proceeding further uphill, he bought our A17. He agreed to 17.1. But he thought the wetlands here were higher than our 17.2. So he added 2 flags about 5 feet uphill of our A 17.2.
And offsite.
Yeah, and this is the property line. So from here, we start going off property. But we collected in our survey and we located them on the plan just to show that even with Goddard's flags as they are, we're still outside. This is the 30-foot no touch. This is the 50-foot no structure. So we can still locate our house outside of the 50-foot no structure zone. And then our flags continued further here off site as they were existing. The other point in Goddard's initial report was that he wanted us to review off-site here. This is up in the farmer's adjacent field. He hung 2 flags to consider a intermittent stream that was coming off the abutting property. And Mary Ann, I don't know if you can speak to that, why we reviewed it and determined with them that it was not applicable.
Right. Yeah, Sophia and I looked at it and we could not find a stream channel, spoke to him about it. He had said he was going to go check it, agreed with us that there was no obvious stream channel at that point. It's just the way the water was coming off the field after a rainstorm.
Yeah. And also want to know, both of these flags, even if we put 100-foot buffer around the full flags, it still did not encroach onto our house or within the property. So we were still outside of both the 30-foot no touch, the 50-foot no structure, and the 100-foot. So, so those are the lines. The red lines are the revised buffer zone lines. So everything in the driveway still remains the same. We're still coming through the 50-foot no structure with the driveway, the 30-foot no touch, and we do have wetland fill involved in here. The Goddard Consulting wetland impact now with the revised layout, this latest bought in plan resulted in about 1,700 total square feet of wetland fill, where the previous plan before we use any Goddard lines, we were at 1,400 square feet. So it was only about 300 more square feet of wetland we were impacting.
So I do have a question, Brian.
Yes.
So the flags that you're showing as Mary Ann DePinto's flags, they don't align with the first site visit that I made, where the wetlands were delineated. So when did the ones that you're citing as the pre-existing ones, when was that delineation done?
So the initial delineation was done back in, I believe, August of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then back in March, Bob Pease walked the site with Mary Ann. And the only flags that were changed based on Bob Pease's site inspection was the wetland line was right in here. And we bumped, I think it was this flag here. So A41, 42, 43. So we just bumped this section out slightly. And that was the limit of what was moved back in March. Goddard reviewed it. Goddard agreed with it.
Okay, and why was the original delineation, the first delineation, so different from the second delineation?
I don't believe it's that different. In March, when there was less vegetation showing, once we get some more plants in there, the line came up to reflect the vegetation. The shrubs that were there had started to leaf out, and they were more evident as to what they were. So we pulled the line up. When Bob was there, we pulled the line up to encompass the shrubs that were wetland indicators.
And again, it was just 3 flags in this location.
Right.
And again, I want to point out, it's 3 flags right here, which is immediately downstream of the neighbor's foundation drain. The discharge is right here. And that's the location where those 3 flags are located.
In Goddard's recent report that was submitted today, we concluded that the wetland vegetation on the neighbor's property arises from the amount of water that's being delivered there, and there are wetland plants that have come in, but the soils themselves have not changed because of the increased recent hydrology changes. And the soils are definitely upland, and we've augured all around in there, and they're all upland soil. So the line varied a little bit from the original delineation, but not very much.
And Mary Ann, when you say the original delineation, you mean the one from August?
August and a slight change in March. They had a significant change on the backside with flag A10. I disagree with that flag. I think it's halfway between, that one there, halfway between mine but we kept his flag. Start going flag by flag and disputing it. It wasn't necessary. So
Okay. Just to dial in, we didn't have the benefit of walking out there together. But when I walked this property a couple of weeks ago, and then also several times during November, December, January timeframe, I was really surprised to see flags going through what really clearly seemed to be wetlands, and that would have been from your August delineation.
right.
So
It's the drainage off the other property, and the soils were distinctly upland for the most part. We've adjusted some flags as the soils were changing to be hydric.
I would say A17 has adjusted dramatically.
I moved A17-4 up the hill some too.
Yeah.
Um,
A17 when I was
recently.
out there in November, A17 kind of cut horizontally across the drawing there, right
Mhm.
through the wetland.
Yep.
So anyway.
Yes. Yep. That was not evident when I was out there. It was very dry at that point, and for whatever reason, it's hard to recollect now. But going back out there, seeing his flags, and actually, when we went back out there in the spring and Bob was there, I adjusted some of those flags as well. Sophia was there as well. So those flags were adjusted in March as well, based on the new information.
Okay, so do we have any questions or comments from members of the commission regarding the new and changed delineations? Chris? Oh, Chris, you raised your hand and then you went on mute.
Sorry about that. What I need a little education. So it seems to me that some of these flags were determined, locations were determined based on the source of the water. So if it was from a neighbor's, even though we agreed that it's wetlands, it's because of the source that it's okay.
No. The swale actually is not a resource area, and it dead ends and overflows periodically, but there's no distinct channel, and all of the soil between the end of that swale and where the wetland line is upland soil. It's distinctly upland. What happens is, because the water is sheeting over the surface there from this newly constructed swale, the herbaceous layer, the sensitive fern and similar herbaceous plants have come in rapidly, and they tend to do that when when the soil at the surface is damp. But the trees and shrubs are still upland, and the soils were upland. So that was the issue. Even though there was water being dumped onto the property, it was not coming from a wetland. It wasn't coming through a wetland.
And Chris, to answer your question, regardless of the source of the water, once it's naturalized as a wetland,
Right.
It's a wetland, it's protected.
Right. Yeah, the soil would change over time and it would become a wetland. This design is going to take that water and bring it through the driveway and deliver it towards the wetland to maintain the connection of water flow to the wetland and not interrupt it.
Chris, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Do we have other questions about the wetland delineation? Okay, so for members of the commission, do we have other questions in general about the plan that we have in front of us?
Yeah, quick question, Madam Chair. I see a structure on the neighbor's property, a concrete or PVC basin drain. I just want to ensure that we have permission for that.
We do. Mr. Patton is on this call or the meeting, so he may be able to speak to it, but we've had several conversations with the neighbor, understanding that the majority of the issues we're running into with permitting here is because of the amount of stormwater runoff that's being discharged from the abutting neighbors onto the property. Specifically, that location, basically his under drain that's by his driveway. There's another pipes connection that comes from the abutting on the other side of his house, and the neighbor's flow comes off their hill down the street on Sunny Hill and flows into Mr. Patton's yard. It's collected in a catch basin yard drain in his yard, and it's routed over to that location where the 6-inch drain is. And that's where a lot of water source is coming that crosses onto our property. And then again, the large swale here that runs off property, runs all the way up, I believe, 3 or 4 neighbors' houses in their backyards. A few years ago, the neighbors dug that trench all the way down the hill to direct runoff away from their yards and dumped it down onto the client's property, the applicant's property, which is causing, again, our wetland issue we're having here, and the wetlands are creeping more and more into the property. So we're planning to collect it at both of these locations and pipe it directly under our driveway to discharge to the wetland resource area. So the stormwater as it is still going to get to the wetland. We're just going to control it and let it flow under the driveway into a riprap scour pad and let it slowly trickle back down to the wetland. We have discussed this with the neighbors, and they were willing to allow this to be part of the scope of work.
Okay.
And so in that area where you're showing the 6 to 12-inch depression around a basin, that seems like that's a general vicinity of where Mr. Patton had it looked like a spring bubbling up.
Yes, and that's
from
where
his
the
yard?
drain is.
Okay, so there's actually a drain in there, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. Do we have questions or comments from commissioners on anything with regard to this proposed project? And Sophie, I'll call on you too. Did you have any concerns about the plan or the delineation as proposed now?
After rehashing everything several times, the delineation seems to finally make sense. But a concern did just pop up in my head as we're going over this. Since there isn't a natural starting point for this water, since it was manipulated several years ago, and this is it's kind of I guess I consider it alien water resource going into a naturalized wetland. I'm just worried about how that would the redirection and flow of more water into the wetland in that plan would affect the existing wetland as it is now.
It's the same water getting there. We're just directing it.
All of the water from that hillside before the swale was created came down the hillside, ended up in the backyards, flowed across, and went to the wetlands. So it's the same volume of water. It builds up. It goes through underground in places, overground, sometimes depending upon the volume of water that's coming off the site. But it all ends up there eventually. So we're not robbing the wetland of water, and nor are we increasing it.
And is there like a changed some sort of report since the plan changed?
No, the
To show
drainage
the water.
analysis, the drainage analysis is the same for our site. Nothing's changing. That's the water, the same water that got there before is getting there now. And a drainage analysis includes the stormwater impacts from the rooftop goes to the dry well, the driveway goes to the P-stone diaphragm and down to our rain garden. That was all captured in the initial stormwater report.
And Sophie, do you have a copy of these plans? For some reason, the file structure is not letting me access the folder for this meeting.
That was all part of the initial filing.
This plan is what I'm asking about, if we have a copy of this in our archive.
Yes, this plan was filed today.
That would be the reason why it's not in there. A lot of these
Okay.
things were submitted today and I was very busy and wasn't able to scramble to get that in there for review or sharing.
Okay. Okay, and so again, Brian, what is the fill area? What's the wetland area that's actually being filled?
1,700?
So we have a detail here that shows in the driveway, this highlighted area is the area of wetland fill. So it's 1,792 square feet. We had 1,400 square feet previously, 14 something. So this is the square footage that we're filling. And then we show the replication plan at 2:1 of what is going to be replicated. Here's all the species. And there's
A list.
details noted up here of the replication soil profile. That's all memorialized on the updated plan filed today.
Okay.
And it is a 2:1 replication, as Richard corrected me on as part of our last filing or discussion back in April.
And the replication area is
It's all immediately adjacent to the wetland, just downhill of the house.
okay, and that's 3,500 or so square feet,
Yes.
2:1.
Yep. So you can see in the original plan, this highlighted area right here is the replication area. It's on the lowest portion of the site, immediately abutting the wetland.
Okay. Okay, so I don't have questions. I'll do and I for one would like to look at the drawings and go back out there and look at the changed flags. That's my personal preference because there's been so much contention out there. But I'll go around the room and talk to the commissioners about where their mindset is. If they're looking for additional information, need time to review the revisions, or are ready to make a decision today. So I'll pick on Jeff first now. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, it seems like it's been worked and it's been kind of shoehorned in there, and I really don't see any issues on my end as far as our regulations and the mass regulations. So I'd be ready to vote on this tonight.
And if I could, I mean, we have, the applicant has done everything and anything the commission's asked. We've had third-party reviewers. We've had them back out a second time. So, I don't see how another site visit's going to change anything with this wetland line. It's kind of been, thoroughly reviewed and vetted at this point.
Rich, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was able to open up the plan and I'm looking at it now. I mean, as
Oh.
Jeff said, it's been worked and reworked as much as possible. So I don't see much else that I need to see to make a decision this evening.
Okay, very good. Jenny?
I actually can't vote on this one.
Oh, right, it started before you, yeah, were commissioned. Okay. But your thoughts are still valid? Do you have any other concerns about the project or questions?
So I do
Comments?
agree with you as far as the wetland flagging goes, just because I was out there with you the last time that we went on a sidewalk a couple weeks ago. And I think it would be nice to see them again and see what's changed. But again, I can't vote on this one, so.
Fair enough. Chris?
Yeah, I've walked this and I don't like the proposal, but I don't see anything that I can turn down on this. Even if we did another site walk, I don't think there's gonna be anything in here that's gonna stop it. But unfortunately, I mean, like I said, I don't really care for this proposal, but there's nothing I can do to not approve it. It does satisfy all the requirements.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Mike?
Yeah, it looks like there's been a lot of compromise from all the flaggers, and I commend them for doing all of that. And I see it as a complicated project, but I want to call it smoke and mirrors. Moving one flag to accommodate soils and or plants or water. But all in all, I think I would go ahead and make a decision this evening on this.
Okay. And so do the commission find any special order conditions that need to be specified? And while people are thinking about that, I'll see if there are any members of the public that wish to comment at this time. Ken. And would you state your name and address for the record?
Ken Patton, 290 Leominster Road. I live adjacent to the site. I don't have any objections to what's been shown here tonight, but I do have a clarification. That 6-inch drain that I have that's picked up on my property there, it actually is probably 30 to 40 feet to the northeast of what's been shown there. I would say it's probably located right about where elevation 472 is written on the driveway, on the new driveway. See that 472? Yeah, right there. That's probably just about the location of where it dumps out. So it's not located where that spring is.
That makes a lot more sense in my mind.
And you're saying that down here is where that 6-inch comes out? Like you have a
No.
4-inch coming out from your foundation drain down here.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying at elevation 472.
I do hear what you're saying, but this is where the applicant had discussions, I believe, with someone in town about the location of this pipe and where that yard drain discharged. So if this location isn't accurate, we would just move it to, further down where that pipe is actually located. But we were told and we're under the impression this is where it was.
Yeah, if you check with the applicant, Brian, he'll tell you that conversation was with me.
Okay.
And I showed them where it was, and it's really close to that 472. So I think that's just an easy fix on
Yeah.
your part.
Then
So-
I recommend if possible, we just make a condition that the location of that drain is verified and, you know, and shown on plan or an updated plan provided to the agent prior to construction.
Yeah. And I actually appreciate how you've done it there, just it's in the wrong location.
Okay.
Just Brian, will there be access into that box? How does,
Yes. Basically, it's just a yard drain. It's like a catch basin. So there's if there's water pooling, I wanted to depress it so the water that flows into that location is collected and piped out. So it's easily accessible. You can pull the rim off it and clean it.
perfect.
Yep.
Okay,
That's all the comments that I have.
thank you, Ken. I'm not seeing any other hands raised, so I think I'm looking for a motion by the commission with a condition that 6-inch pipe drain be relocated and submitted to the administrator prior to the letter of order conditions being issued.
Madam Chair, I just thought of one other question, but
Yeah, go
whose
for it, Jeff.
responsibility is that to maintain that drain? I mean, it would be like, does that other homeowner have permission from the property owner to clear that drain if it does back up into his house? I mean, that seems kind
It's
of,
on his land.
oh, it's public land?
No, it's on Mr. Patton's land, so he's gonna maintain it. He wouldn't want the water backing up on his property. It's on his property.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
he would
well-
maintain the inlet, but who would I mean, what if there was a
The outlet,
dispute and the
exactly.
outlets
Knock on the door.
not accessible?
Yeah. We'd, I'm assuming we would agree, or there would be a easement maintenance agreement as part of the deed of the purchaser of this house.
Okay,
So
okay,
that would be incorporated. There's,
okay.
I don't think there's any land use attorney who would be putting deeds together would not have a maintenance agreement in place.
Yeah, okay. Just wanted to make sure. Okay,
And Mr. Patton has agreed to work with us with that.
perfect. Thank you.
Good question, Jeff. Ken, you had another question or comment?
Yes, and I really appreciate what Brian just said about the maintenance easement on the deed,
Yes.
because that has been something that in the back of my mind, I've been concerned about, and that would alleviate my concern for both that 6-inch drain and then the my foundation drain.
Yes.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah, we've just discussed it with the applicant. He's more than aware of it, and he's in total agreement to do that. We've done the same thing on other projects in town.
Excellent.
Okay, so then the applicant actually agrees to a maintenance easement
Yes.
to that drain?
Yes.
Because one of the things I noticed you said before was I assume, but you're
No,
actually confirming that
absolutely.
that's
I
been
am
agreed
confirming.
to.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
I have nothing further.
thank you, Ken. Okay, so I'm looking for a motion from my commission.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, and to my motioner and my second, do you agree that on the condition that the 6-inch pipe drain be moved on the drawing before we issue the letter, the order conditions? Or are you motioning for a different routing of that? Rich, you were the original.
Yeah, so is it the 4-inch drain or the
No.
6-inch out of the catch basin?
He's saying the 6-inch here. He's saying the 6-inch actually discharges a little further to the, I guess, the
Yeah,
east.
and that's consistent with my own memory of
Okay.
the property as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, if possible, I'd rather not have it passed out before you issue the order. I'd just say before it's installed, it'll have to be, an updated plan will be provided to the conservation agent for record.
I would be good with that.
I'll accept that as well.
So that would be
Okay.
a special condition, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, so roll call vote, Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny's not eligible to vote, Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, so that's the approval with a special condition that the 6-inch drain pipe location is updated and the drawing submitted to our office prior to that drain pipe being installed. Okay, moving along. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a notice of intent by Steve Powell for the construction of a single-family home and associated site work at 171 Arbor Street. Do we have Steve or his representatives here tonight?
Yeah, Brian Marchetti here. So we've finally agreed. We've been working with the attorneys in the abutter on a purchase and sale agreement. We had to negotiate with him because we needed 11 feet of his frontage in order to work out this common driveway plan. We just finalized it last week, so the abutter gave us the green light to now move forward with ZBA. So we have to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals first to allow him to grant us 11 feet of his frontage before we can finalize this plan. So we're going to ask for a continuance. I would say likely it's going to be at least a month because we have to go through the ZBA process. And then I can come back to you now with the revised notice of intent plan. And just so you know, the revised NOI plan is going to be significantly less of an impact because of the process we've gone through with NESHAP to remove a significant portion of the property from the development because of the Blandings turtle. So when we come back, it'll basically be just work in the buffer zone for the backyard of one house.
Okay. Very good. So when you say a month, do you mean August 21st? Or
Yes, I'd keep it
Okay.
there. We're probably going to be at a meeting in August with ZBA. If they, continue or something, and I need another month, I'll just request another continuance to that.
okay, yeah, easy enough to do.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion by the members of the commission
So
For
moved.
August 21st?
for August 21st. Yeah, Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Rich and Mike, thank you. Roll call vote, Chris St. Germain.
Aye.
Jenny, I think you aren't allowed to vote on this one either, are you?
Yeah, this predates me too.
Yeah, Rich Birsch,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
and I for myself. Thank you. Okay, so did we ever have somebody from Crossroad Lot 2 parcel join our call? And I am not seeing anybody with raised hand, nor am I seeing anybody come off mute with an attempt to talk to us. So I think I'm looking for a motion to continue Crossroad Lot 2 parcel 99-11 to August 7th.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Okay, motion by Chris and a second by Jenny. Roll call vote, Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, that closes out our dangling hearing. That is all of the new project hearings that we've heard, new and continued. So we'll move along to administrative determinations, 67 Peninsula Drive. Sophie?
Yes. So this was a proposal for the removal and replacement of 4 hemlock trees that are very clearly diseased with woolly adelgid. It's textbook woolly adelgid. So those trees are struggling, and as well as a half dead white pine tree. This, I can pull up a few photos really quickly to show that.
Well, let's hear from the commission. Do you want to see the photos, or you just want to get Sophie's advice? I'm inclined to just hear your advice.
Okay.
I am as well.
Same here.
And what's your advice in this regard? Oh, Mike, sorry.
Me too.
I would definitely approve the removal of these trees and replacement with arborvitaes as proposed on the plan.
And what were they proposing to replace with? Arborvitaes, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions or concerns for Sophie? I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Jenny, thank you.
Second. Second.
Roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, let's move along to certificates of compliance. For Sunset Lane. Sophie.
Yes, sorry, I'm gonna move my screen to read. There were some revisions to the patio and retaining wall, but overall less square footage of impervious surfaces on this one. So I would approve this.
Okay, looking for a motion. Or any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Okay, I'm not seeing any. I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Jenny. Roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, Sophie, 245 Holman Street, Lot 3.
I would approve this COC.
Okay, any questions by members of the commission? Okay, I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Rich.
Second.
Roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
I for myself. Approved. 251 Holman Street, Lot 4. Sophie,
Also approve.
any questions, comments by members of the commission? Looking for a motion to approve.
So
Second.
moved.
Okay.
Second.
I'm gonna say Jenny and Mike. Okay, roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, 512 Northfield Road. Sophie,
Also approve.
any questions or comments from members of the commission? Okay, looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Chris. Roll call vote, Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself. 41 Country Road, Sophie.
We'll just continue this streak and approve this one too.
Very good. Questions, comments, or motions?
Motion
So moved.
Okay, I got a motion to approve by Rich, I think, and a second
Yep.
by somebody else.
Actually, it was me.
Oh, it
Mary.
was you. Very good, Mike. Okay, so a motion by Mike and a second by,
Second.
okay, Rich. Okay, roll call vote, Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, now Sophie, I think there is an error on the list of certificates of compliance because I think 23 Cove Road had also applied for a certificate of compliance.
Yes, that's
That's
correct.
correct.
My name is Attorney Jack Murad for 23 Cove Road.
Okay. Jack, normally we wait on the chair to call on us before we speak, but you may
My
not be
apologies.
as familiar with Zoom, right? So I certainly understand that. So Sophie, well, first off, let me just ask as a matter of order, since the update wasn't published with 23 Cove Road as a certificate of compliance, are we able to entertain that conversation tonight? And I'm asking fellow members of the commission. Rich, I usually lean on you for the heavyweight advice here.
I'm just looking quick to see how it was posted.
It was posted as a certificate. It was posted as a, yeah.
And what was the order of condition date?
The order of conditions was, am I supposed to answer this? I'm sorry, Mary.
I think it's 1997, if I recall, or 1995.
1995, from John Esposito. This was 2 deeds back. My client purchased this property. The title exams missed this a couple times. This was 50 Cove Road. It was split into a couple lots. My client has 23 Cove Road. So his this order of conditions covers this lot as well as a lot specific order of conditions for that property. We're seeking a certificate of compliance. We applied to get on the agenda a couple agendas back. We were able to get on this one, but it incorrectly states that we are under the violations, enforcement, actions, and hearings section.
Rich, does that answer your question?
It does. Unfortunately, the last time I saw this address, we had a violation on it. Was the violation dealt with?
Yes, as far as my client's also on this on this Zoom. His attorney at the time, along with himself, had resolved this issue years back.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to provide some clarification on this. I believe that just about every member on the board currently was present at that meeting with the exception of one. It's actually just to correct my attorneys, it's actually was 50 Sandy Cove Road.
Mhm.
And it is on file with the town as 50 Sandy Cove Road. And the order of conditions was pulled against the installation of the septic system, which has been put in, in place for 29 years and has had passed 2 Title V's. So we do know that the records are on file. I just think this was something that John Esposito didn't follow through on. The house is currently under contract to be sold, and this is holding up that sale. And I have been corresponding back and forth with Sophia in regards to this issue, and she assured me that that was a mistake and that she had made an attempt to fix it and put it back under the certificate of compliance rather than enforcement actions. but she was unfortunately was not able to correct that mistake.
Thank you, Robert. And thank you, Jack. Sophie, yeah, I think I'll call on you now, to talk to us about your site walk.
So according to the plans that I managed to dig up today, the septic system was installed in the location, correlating with the plan. So that is all set. Upon my inspection, I also noted some changes that may have occurred sometime between possibly 2020 and possibly 2021. There's a large area of, I guess you could say, pea stone that I located approximately possibly 7 feet from the bank of the stream that runs along the back of the house, and it's around the raised garden beds. Previously, it was looking at maps and other images from past violations. That was previously a mulched area, and has changed from mulch to filled with stone of some sort.
Yeah, if I could chime in on that, Mary, I could explain. So there was a enforcement order issued against the property that had been resolved in July of 2023 that had nothing to do with the original order conditions for the septic system. And it was in regards to a greenhouse, and that we attended several hearings and had that issue resolved. At the time of those hearings, we had hired Oxbow that came out and provided you guys with the documentation that they found for the delineation. The stone was present at the time because the stone was put down at the same time as the greenhouse. So that is a previous enforcement action that has already been resolved by the Conservation Commission and was signed off on in July of 2023. And when we removed, actually, if you look at the first prior meeting from the July, what was the date on that, Trace? 7/5/23. The previous meeting agenda had 23 Cove Road on the agenda for the enforcement order, and then it was closed out. I believe we had some additional conversation with other members of the board that recall the original project that John Esposito worked on for this property. So that issue has already been addressed. It had been resolved with the Conservation Commission a year ago. So we'd be reopening, the Conservation Commission would be readdressing an issue that had already been resolved previously, which I have documented, as well as copies of the videos, the YouTube meetings where it was discussed, and the board unanimously decided to close the enforcement order. There was never any mulch in that area. It has always been peat stone from the day that the greenhouse was built. And we agreed to take the greenhouse down in regards to the enforcement order because there was a new ruling put in place, I guess, for the 100-foot zone or whatever. And there was no other place in the property to put the greenhouse. And the greenhouse was taken down and removed. Anna Petrie, I believe, was the admin at the time, who went out and inspected the property and reported back to the Conservation Commission that we followed through on our obligation and what the Conservation Commission wanted us to do in regards to the enforcement order. And then the issue was closed. Now, I know that Sophia is actually fairly new to the Conservation Commission, so she may not be aware of that history. But that was, like I said, that was an issue that was resolved a year ago. That actually started in early 2021.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Matter
Okay.
of fact, Mary, I think that you chimed in during that meeting and said that it was your feeling it was unfortunate that I had to take the greenhouse down, but you felt that it was necessary. So we did proceed and do as the Conservation Commission, at the Conservation Commission's wishes, took the greenhouse down and removed it from the property.
Yeah, I do recall that, and I actually have had the benefit of going back and reviewing the meeting minutes from that history as well. So, Rich, again, looking for your advice for the certificate of compliance was requested, but it was posted in error on the agenda. Do you think we can legitimately close that based on Sophie's advice and the conversation here tonight?
Yeah, because the address was posted on the agenda. It's an administrative action, and we can always just take it up as a unknown topic. We weren't aware that it was posted in the wrong spot 48
Okay.
hours in advance of the meeting.
Fair enough. So I think I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second, Mike?
Thank you, Mike. Roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Hi.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself.
Thank you, everybody, for your assistance.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along in the agenda. Do we have any updates on enforcement, Sophie?
I don't have any updates, movement. I just added 10 Mass Ave back onto the agenda, just to keep track of it.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I know that a couple meetings ago, it was stated that, we would give them 30 days to file, and I have yet to receive a filing from them.
Then I think we need to proceed with a violation notice. That would be the next step in my mind, because it's been a long time, and I'm certain more than 30 days.
I also noted that driving by the equipment that was parked in one spot for probably a couple months now has moved. I haven't been able to investigate further. I just know that it was moved.
As I recall, in the back there, they had some erosion control, but they kept the erosion control kept failing. So I think it would be important for you to get back there and look and see if the erosion control is needs any maintenance work.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, do it with permission since they haven't actually filed. They haven't given us formal permission. But as I recall, the applicant was actually the leasee that was running the business at that property.
And if I recall correctly, they were informed that they needed to file prior to
Continuing
me
work.
stepping in. Yes. So I think they were already given that warning. I'll have to double check, but I believe the next step would be enforcement and or fines.
Okay, agreed. Any questions or comments there on 10 Mass Ave? Sophie, any other updates on our enforcements violations?
Yes, 40 Fire Road 12, the area that belongs to
The
the
town?
town. Yep. I went there this week. One party had taken responsibility and initiative and removed the pavement. There is gravel left, and there's a large stack of wood and other various tools and equipment and debris still within close proximity of where the pavement was removed. And I believe
So they've removed the boats and the trailers and all of those things as well?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that all that remains is that debris and the gravel from underneath the original pavement.
Okay, that's progress. What was the, when did their, order conditions expire?
I
It was-
don't recall off the top of my head. I believe
actually-
it was early July or
It
mid
was
July.
July. It was July sometime. I just can't remember if it was early or late.
But I know they were trying to contact the office, and I think they had trouble somehow reaching me. But finally got in contact last Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So I scheduled a visit immediately and went out there.
Okay. So then you will walk them through the rest of the process? Or at least assist them and instruct them on the rest of the process? Because I think it seemed apparent when they came to the last hearing that they didn't know what to do.
Can you elaborate on the rest of the process and what you mean by that?
Well, they have a order of conditions. So they need to decide if they've, and I would think that they would want to be talking to you about whether they've met those conditions. And when they've met those conditions, they would request a certificate of compliance. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what I meant.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be in correspondence with them, and I'll let them know what they need to do filing wise, next steps.
Okay. Thank you. Any other updates on enforcements violations?
No, that's all.
Okay, 205 Sunset Lane, I think we have DEP hearing on the 20, is it the 22nd or the 24th? I can't remember. I have it on my calendar. I just have
I'm
to.
pulling up my calendar.
I have the 24th at 11 a.m. on site.
Okay, very good. Jeff, quick draw. And I actually was going to try to attend that, but I just got a reminder for a medical appointment that morning too down in Worcester, so I might be late, Sophie, just so you know. And I think Chris, you said you were going to try to attend as well.
Yes, I could make that.
Okay,
I'll do my best as well, Madam Chair.
that would be great, Jeff, because I think you've got a lot of the history on that. Would be
Yes,
helpful.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live right down the street, so.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Moving along to new business. Sophie, you circulated the Conservation Commission schedule? Well,
The meeting schedule?
yeah.
Yes, that I sent a kind of tentative schedule out so that we can kind of get a grip on the future. And I was hoping that the commission had some time prior to this meeting to review it and have any thoughts or changes that they would want to see before my assistant and I work on changing the deadlines and trying to meet the timeframes associated with the meeting schedule.
I've seen it, but I've not had a chance to circle back to it. I can try to do that maybe this weekend. I don't know. If anybody else, Jenny, you want to help me with that, maybe?
Definitely, but I don't think that I got this. Was this an email?
Yes.
Did you circulate it to all members of the commission, Sophie, or just to me and Bob?
That is a good question. I would hope that it went to everybody.
But regardless, that's an easy thing to fix. So I can make certain that you have it, Jenny, as well.
Great.
I think, yeah, the interest that we have is that making certain that we aren't, scheduling a meeting on Christmas Eve or, maybe even Thanksgiving Eve or, national holidays and whatnot, right? So.
Okay.
Okay, and Bob's not here, so I don't have any updates on the beaver deceiver at the Cowdery. Well, I'll ask him to send us an email update on that. And Sophie, we have chapter 61B abatement for 20 Kilburn. And my recollection from last week was that the Conservation Commission discussed that, voted not to take action to pursue or recommend pursuing purchase of that, and took a vote to authorize Bob, who is then acting chair of the meeting, to notify the select board, which he has done. And I similarly sent a notification to the Open Space Planning Commission. So I think that's closed unless a new issue has come up.
Okay.
Did we have any topics that have come up in the last 48 hours that we needed to discuss? Oh, I see, Mr. Gibbons, you've raised your hand. Let me call on you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm sorry, I don't see the telephone or the electronic hand raiser, but I
That's
appreciate
okay.
So I just wanted to be clear, because I'm here on the Kilburn matter, and I didn't realize that it was voted on last week. I wouldn't have spent a couple hours waiting to be called.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I talked with Sophia. But just so I'm clear, it was voted on last week not to suggest that the selectmen not exercise the right of first refusal.
Yeah, and I could give you a little bit of background on that. And I was interacting with the Conservation Commission last week as a regular commissioner, and I'm just acting chair tonight for the purposes. Just we have to have a chair to host the meeting. But I advocated that we not exercise the first right of refusal because it's impractical. For the first part, we have 120 days to complete the purchase. That's not to issue an offer, right? And it's almost impossible to do that within 120 days when you have alignment of all of the commissions within the first 30 days. So it's impractical from that perspective. It's also impractical when the property owner has already gotten approval on substantial improvements to the frontage of those properties. Then the price of the parcels goes up significantly, as well as additional costs for the town. And then I'll just say, listen, I'm an avid outdoors woman. I am out all the time, walking my dogs, biking, hiking, improving the conservation lands. But in terms of making a recommendation for acquisition, what the strategy that the town has agreed to, which is part of our open space planning strategy, is that any new acquisitions meet at least 3 of, I think, 7 criteria that are in the open space criteria, open place planning strategy. And the current open space plan, I think, expires in 2027. And this parcel didn't meet any of those conditions. Which, it's a little unfortunate because it really is a big parcel, and it has a lot of wetlands in it, and I'm certain it hosts a lot of wildlife, and I always feel like we should be giving our wildlife a lot more breathing room. But in this case, me as one commissioner of many, I didn't advocate for it because I just didn't see that it would be practical.
Thank you very much. And that's been conveyed to the Board of Selectmen.
It has been, yes. We authorized Bob as acting chair last week to communicate that, and he copied me on his email on Thursday to the select board.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, well, and I appreciate your time too. It's a marathon to hang out with us for this long, only to find out that it was for no purpose. So I'm sorry about that.
No, thank you. Have a good night.
Take care.
Yeah, now, bye-bye.
Righty. I have no updates on title searches. I think somebody's gonna have to do a TOI with Bob on where he left a lot of items. It's a good job for the new chair, whoever they might be. Do we have any updates on encroachment issues, Sophie?
No.
No, okay. I don't have any updates. Well, I have one update on grants. Last week we had authorized Bob as acting chair to make a proposal to the select board for ARPA funds for the 2023 grant award, and the ARPA funds to fund our, when you get the Mass Trails grant, the sponsor of the grant has to actually sponsor 20% of the overall grant cost. And so that was going to be the obligation of the Conservation Commission. And so Bob proposed to the select board last week, with our endorsement, that ARPA funds be used for that matching. And he did copy me on his email out to the select board. So I know that's also been issued. And then the Snow Rider grant of 2022, I think all the work's been done there. It's just a matter of doing the final submittal and getting the approval to purchase the equipment that had been requested. Okay, Hollis Road residents, any updates there, Mike?
Yes, Madam Chair. Last meeting, we had approved $1,000 for the replacement of a riding mower. And I was in error. Instead of giving a SKU for a riding lawnmower, I gave a SKU for a riding tractor, which included no mowing mechanism on the tractor. So therefore, I'd like to propose an additional $1,300 in order to cover a 42-inch riding lawnmower for the pollinator habitat, as well as for the Hollis Road residents. We're currently having our push mower under repair right now. And so that means we have, I'd like to just propose an additional $1,300 tonight out of the Haas fund, so we can purchase a 42-inch Cub Cadet riding lawnmower through Home Depot, which I got the word today from Bob Gagney that he was willing to do for us if we were to vote the additional $1,300.
So Bob, sorry, you said Bob, and so that stuck in my head. I think I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, I seem to be seem to pick something up, and I think I'm sinking a little bit here. So I think what you're proposing is to have a new total of not to exceed more than $2,300 for a lawnmower, a riding lawnmower.
That's correct.
And what you had said before is that, we've had a lot of mixed results with buying used equipment. And for $1,000, I was really gung ho for $1,000, but now it's $2,300. I wonder, does our lease with the current resident include, do we know, the riding lawnmower? And so if that is destroyed or somehow, and I'm not making a statement against the current person that's there, but I'm a landlord and I know the things that happen with property. If it went missing, would we be covered with a deposit there to reimburse this, or do we know? Because it's a significant capital expense, in my opinion. I worry about it.
Well, it is. We do have a mechanism to chain the lawnmower into the shed, so we could certainly protect it.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we have done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And part of, I believe, her agreement is to provide X amount of hours a month in order to, you know, and which she has and has been willing to mow the lawn and has mowed the lawn, not only in front, but in the back of her, the dwelling at 123 Hollis Road. And so it's always been our responsibility to provide a mower so she could fulfill her 30 hours a month to fulfill her, and she was always willing to mow. And now we have, you know, the tenant who mows. We also have the pollinator habitat volunteers who mow along their pathways in order to accentuate the pollinator habitat, which, by the way, I was there last night doing duty on hornet nest removal, and it is just a fabulous space. I just can't say enough about being in a space that's covered by native plants and having butterflies and bumblebees, just, you know, taking care of this beautiful habitat that I invite anyone to go see, because it's always open. But hence the need to maintain it, and the volunteers have done so greatly, even to the extent that when we had our push mower going, I think we're having issues with the carburetor, which is now being fixed by Nick Pirro on our behalf. But now we have no mower except for asking our volunteer neighbor to mow until we can resolve our own mowing issues. So that's why I'm recommending that we fund this mower. We've never had a new one as far as I'm aware of. We certainly would take good care of the mower. I would certainly see to that.
I'm not worried about the pollinator habitat people, or your diligence, for that matter, Mike. Just worried about the dangling modifier of, you know, tenant landlord relationships. That's all.
Okay.
So if I understand correctly, let's see. So we had authorized a not to exceed $1,000 last week. You want to add 1,300, and you think it's 1,300 with it's 2,300 total, including tax?
Well, there'd be no tax because we purchase it through the facilities department.
Oh, okay. Okay. So 1,300, yeah, covers you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for a total of not to exceed 2,300 for a new ride and lawnmower, that's the proposal. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you,
Second,
Rich. Thank you, Jenny. Roll call vote, Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself. Anything else on Hollis Road?
That's it. The painting's all finished. It looks fabulous, and it will look even more fabulous with the lawn mowed.
Cool. Anything, I have no updates from open space. Any updates from stormwater, Jenny?
No, we haven't met since the last meeting, so.
Okay, very good. So I think I'm looking, do we have any final comments or comments from the commission? Do we have any comments from members of the public? I see a Jay Simeon on. Jay, could you unmute yourself? Did we cover what you needed us to cover tonight? It may.
That's
Yeah,
Joanna Bellata's
I-
husband. Oh. that's Jay.
Okay. Yeah, Jay.
Yeah, I was curious what was going on with the status of 45 Fire Road 12.
Oh, okay. So we answered your questions then, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. I just wanted to make certain if you hang out with us for this long, that it's
Mhm.
for some purpose.
Well, I kind of follow you guys anyway, so.
Excellent. Well, very good. Okay, I think I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Hey,
And
Jay, we have an
Uh-oh.
opening.
Yeah,
Hey,
I know.
Jay.
I'm already on a committee.
Oh, okay.
That is a very good point, Jeff. We do have an opening. So, commissioners, reach out to your friends and family. And Jay, even if you won't put your name in the hat, reach out to your friends and family and network. And, you know, to encourage people to apply for the commission. Okay, with that, it's 9:37 and I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So
So moved.
So,
Second.
okay.
Second.
Chris motioned and Mike seconded and Jenny also motioned. So we'll go with Chris and we'll go with Jenny for the motion. Roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Jeff,
Hi.
Rich,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself. Thank you, everyone.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.